Hannah,
Yes.
I have a cold open story for you today, and it's the earliest and probably the fastest I've ever been planning on playing a game for a demo and then got turned off of it and decided not just to not play the demo, but to not even bother trying the game out. And it has to do with the game Steel Seed that we talked about last week as one of the upcoming titles.
Okay.
Steel Seed being that sort of the sci-fi hack and slash stealth game that we talked about last week with the big grandiose buildings.
Yeah, it looked good.
I still think it looks good. I started the demo. I downloaded the demo and I started it earlier this morning at maybe 8 o'clock. And the first thing that happened with the demo was that it started up on the wrong screen. Which is fine. I mean, that's kind of easy to fix. So I go into the game settings and I look for the video options to see if there's a direct option for changing the screen that the game is on. And there isn't. So I figure I go to the next best thing, which is, you put the game in windowed mode, you drag it to the screen that you want it on, and then you put it back into full screen mode.
Mm-hmm.
I put the game in windowed mode, and I can't see the top of the like there's no window top for me to drag it. So, okay, I think the game's been out for a little bit. I'm going to go to the Steam forums. See, there must be someone else who's figured out how to get this game running on the correct screen.
There's usually launch options for Steam for that.
Right. So I leave the game in the settings mode, and I go to the Steam forums, check the forums, can't find anything about switching the monitor that it's on, or all I found are a couple of complaints from people saying that the game runs on the wrong monitor and there's no way to fix it. That they found. No solutions. I cut back to the game, and the game is now blaring a trailer for the game at me. Like halfway through. It had started playing at some point, but the music, it muted itself because it was in the background. So I go back to the main screen, and I go back to the settings, and I pull out my phone this time, and I start Googling, like, Steel Seed wrong monitor. After about 30 seconds, the trailer starts playing again. The demo has an idle timer on the main menu and all of the settings, where if you leave, and I counted it, if you leave the mouse idle for 25 seconds, it cuts to a trailer for the game. You have no option. There's no way to turn it off that I found. If you leave the mouse idle on any screen, including like changing graphic settings, changing controls for 25 seconds, it wrenches the options menu out of your hands and starts playing a trailer for the game that you have to hold the space button down for 5 seconds to get back. And it doesn't even put you back where you were. It shoves you at the main menu. So, like, if you're deep in the options menu, it throws you back at the main menu. You have to go into settings, go into the place that you want, like, go back to where you were. And I don't understand, because there's no engine on Earth where that is a default. That was something that had to be meticulously thought of designed and programmed into the game that if the user is on the main screen, I wasn't in the game and paused. I was on the main screen before I ever even got into the game. And I recorded it on my NVIDIA to see just how long it was. 25 seconds. If you don't touch the mouse for 25 seconds, it throws you into a trailer. Also, one that you can't skip for I think 10 seconds.
Really? Oh my god.
Yes.
And so you could be finishing the trailer, you could cancel out of the trailer, wait 25 seconds, and then get thrown back right into the trailer.
Yeah. There's no cooldown either. It doesn't do it once per session. If you, I tried it out where I skipped it, left it at the main menu, and then 25 seconds later, it just throws you right back into the trailer. You can't skip it. There's no option, or you can, you can skip it, but you can't turn that off. And it frustrated me, on top of the monitor problems that I was having, which I could have dealt with. It frustrated me. That whole idea frustrated me so much that I uninstalled the game and I added it to my ignore list.
Rightfully so. I can't understand that. That makes no sense.
It's a level of it's a very unique type of hostility to the player. I can understand in an online game, because I played a ton of online games where if you sit idle at the character select screen, eventually it will boot you back to the login screen because you're taking up space on a server.
Yeah.
But this is a single player game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the demo for a single player game. Why are you putting me into a trailer for the game that I'm already playing?
That's
not only that, but one that plays at a volume so much higher than the rest of the game. Or the rest of the menu.
If you lower the sound, does that lower the volume of the trailer?
It lowers the volume of everything.
Okay. But it's
so the menu music is at a 2, and the trailer music I would say is at about a 6.
Wow. Just in case you weren't aware of the game that you were playing, let's just play the trailer for it again and again and again.
Maybe they think that if someone's sitting on the menu for too long, they're not excited enough, that we need to hype them up for this game.
Yeah, and then after we hype them up again, let's hype them up one more time.
Maybe just not getting the message. But
no, this seems weird.
Again, I don't understand that level of just, I can only call it hostility.
Yeah.
Because it's 20 seconds.
If it were 2-3 minutes, then yeah, I could totally see that.
If it was a couple of minutes, yeah, if I was a couple of minutes, I could see that. But more importantly, if it was on the main menu screen, because it does it when you're in the settings too, and anywhere else on the main menu. So logically, if I'm looking at control settings or I'm looking at video settings, I'm probably there for a reason to tweak things. The fact that the game actively punishes you for thinking about something for, God forbid, 30 seconds, I want to decide what my frame rate limit is without touching my mouse and wiggling it around.
Did you ever actually play the game?
No. I got too angry at that.
Well, leave it in the vault.
Call it petty. I got fucking angry at it.
No, I don't think it's petty at all. I think that's unreasonable of them. Why would they do that?
It was just the fact that I was trying to get the settings fixed, and I was trying to get the settings fixed, and I can't do that because the game is constantly throwing me out of the... I either have to constantly be moving my mouse, or the game is regularly throwing me out of the settings menu every 25 seconds.
Well, the reason why I asked you if you had actually gotten into the game, because I'm wondering if it does this while you're actually playing the game. So God forbid you have to get up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a good question. If it does it during the demo, if you have it paused.
Yeah, that'd be so weird. Because again, you pause it to go to the bathroom, and then it throws you into the trailer, and then you'll have to redo everything because they'll throw you back to the main menu.
Right.
Well,
It's just so confusing, and somebody, like I said, somebody had to go through, they had to plan it, they had to code it, bug test it, implement it to say, like, we don't want the player being idle for more than half a minute. Is the game good? I'll never know. You only get one first impression, and mine was absolutely terrible.
yeah, that sounds awful. I kind of want to download this just to experience it myself.
How about you experience this?
It's mighty strange. You looking happily deranged. I can't settle in bed. Or have you picked your target yet? It's ended. Don't your dog bite? It's ended.
See, now this is perfect because just as I was getting ready to cue up the music, I was thinking to myself, I didn't have any segue planned for how to introduce the intro song, and then you hand delivered it right into my lap.
We are wonderful content creators.
But anyway, this is Sunday. It is once again that time of the week for Online for Maintenance, the official podcast of MMO Fallout. This is episode number 11, Boba Teas Nuts. A title sure to get people coming in as much as they did for Sergei Tidov. We are theoretically the official podcast of MMO Fallout, and you can support whatever the hell we just did for the last 10-15 minutes by joining up on patreon.com/MMO Fallout. That's patreon.com/MMO Fallout. And you can find this podcast wherever podcasts are served, fresh, never frozen. I am Connor.
I am Hannah.
What have you been up to this last week?
Oh, a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of like real life stuff going on, so I actually haven't had a whole lot of time for video games, but I played some. I've had fun.
That's good. For everyone who's tired of the Sea of Thieves stories, not that I know why they would be, I guess we're skipping another week.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try to get more into it. I'm still, like I said, I'm still working out some stuff in new schedule in real life.
Right.
But I did
But
play.
in lieu of that, have you played anything good this week?
I did play my Sea of Thieves Insider, which, if you're not familiar with the Insider program, it's like a behind the scenes, like advanced look at what's going to be in future updates. It's basically Rare's way of getting people to bug test their game for them for free. And each week, if you turn in a certain amount of gold, you get a cosmetic reward. And the games all dress up anyway, so the more cosmetic you can get, the better. So, like, if you do play Sea of Thieves and you haven't gotten enrolled in the Insider program, pretty much everyone is allowed to, as far as I know, unless you've broken their NDA or whatever. Which is the reason why I can't talk about whatever I did in the game, because like if I do talk about it, then NDA. But I got my reward for the week. Everything is good. Gonna hopefully get back to the main game next week. I like the changes that are coming to it. It's nice.
That's good. What else is on your docket for today?
Okay, so I played a wonderful game called Automachef. So
Automachef.
uh, so it is. I like automation games. I really, really love automation games, and along the lines of like Factorio, Dyson Sphere Program, Satisfactory. This is a little different. This is you're given a set area and you're given the tools to make the machine that you want to make, and then you have to figure out a very efficient way of doing it. So you're running a restaurant as a robot, and you have to, through the pieces that you're given, come up with a logistical way of handling orders. And you won't necessarily know what orders you're going to get, but you will have to prepare, you'll have to create machines in order to prepare that food for you. I only did a couple of levels for it because like these games tend to be a little bit harder for me. I liked this one though. I really, really liked this one. It reminded me of another game called Infinifactory, which Infinifactory is like insanely hard.
Right.
This is not that hard. This is not as like you intricate. This is not as like in depth for how many things that you need to do. It's pretty user friendly, and I feel like it will ramp up over time to make it a lot easier to. The one thing that I am kind of like iffy on, the one thing I'm not really sure on is like the game has different items to do different tasks, and I feel like I always want to make a machine that will use these items more efficiently than what they do, but you're not really given the option through the ways that the game provides you to do that. Like there's a grill in the game, and the grill can hold 4 items, but you can only pick up 1 or 2 of those items at a time. Or no, you can only pick up 1 of those items at a time. So if you try, you cannot put 4 different items onto the grill. You will not be able to pick up 4 different items. It's really hard to describe because I think it's kind of just you would have to like know a little bit of the game to play to understand, because it's like I'm more used to like building automation. This is just like an automation efficiency game. So, and it's like or I should say, I'm more used to like gathering automation. This is like maximizing efficiency automation, and I like that about it. I really do like being efficient when it comes to these games, because I will like when I play Factorio Satisfactory, I will like scale things up to try to get things moving quickly, which does require a level of efficiency. So I like it, and I need to play more of it. It's just I don't know if it's a game for everyone, because it's a very specific like programming style of game.
Right. I got frustrated with it. I put about 8 hours in, and I think my frustration is kind of similar to yours in the fact that, say, if you're tasked with putting on the menu a cheeseburger and a bacon cheeseburger, you have to set up 2 completely separate assembly lines because you're only allowed to tie the computer brains to one machine at a time, or you're only allowed to tie a machine to one computer brain at the time. So if you have a cheeseburger and a bacon cheeseburger, you have to have 2 patties, 2 buns, 2 cheese, 2 grills, 2 assemblers.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is the game is preaching efficiency, but it's like you have a bacon cheeseburger and a cheeseburger. Why can't I just put bacon on the cheeseburger?
Yeah. Why can't you have it set up so if you because the whole thing centers around one of the basics that you get to is being efficient by having the machines tied to the brains, so that if someone orders a cheeseburger, the machines are only dispensing bun, cheese, patty, one of them at the time that the order is made.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have to have 2 machines, in the game's programming, if they just increase the amount of machines that you could tie it to, you could very easily have a system for dispensing just the ingredients for a burger or just the ingredients for a bacon burger, and have both of them on the menu at the same time. And that did annoy me, because it eventually the game feels less of a an efficiency manager and more of a just floor space management.
Mm-hmm.
It feels less about managing efficiency and more about figuring out the optimal way to put 3 or 4 completely separate conveyor systems in at the same time.
Yeah, and the other thing is too is that it didn't really make it easy. And I don't understand it shouldn't necessarily make it easy, but it didn't really feel like it was giving you enough options for that. Like it really felt like cramped. And I know that's kind of the point of it, but it was a little too cramped in some instances. Like the
Can't
second
tell how
level,
ironic it's supposed to be.
what's that?
I can't tell how ironic it's supposed to be. Like
Yeah,
this is an efficiency game that has a lot of redundancies in it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So when I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know how to make this as one machine if I just had a different it's the smart grabber, the like the thing that like picks up items. It
Mhm.
will only pick up one item. It will only pick up one type of item.
Right.
So you have to have like multiples of these around the grill in order to like pick up the specific cooked item that you want.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a way of like just grabbing it and then sorting it. So you have to specifically pick that one up.
Right.
Yeah, it's really weird. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on it. I'm gonna try to see if I can't get more into it. But the second level I felt like was really so the first level's pretty easy, and you can basically walk you through it. But the second level they throw you gives you like half the space, and you have to make 2 completely independent machines.
Hmm.
Um, third level was actually a lot easier, which was like, why would you do it this way?
Yeah, the difficulty curve is weird. It really goes up and down for what's supposed to be the tutorial section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I want to play more of it. I don't know if I've played enough of it to really have a good opinion on it, but I like it. I like the idea of it. I just think that there's just problems with it.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely problems with it.
I think it's worth checking out for the price that it's at right now because it's on sale for $2.24. Although
Yeah.
by the time this episode goes live, it will be down.
I mean, even at the normal price, well, $15, it's a little bit more, but it does go on heavy sales.
Yeah, $15 for this seems a little much.
Right.
Um, but at 225, yeah, go for it. Why not? So yes, that was Automachef. So then I've been playing. I played a little bit of Apex Legends.
Hmm.
So they have another one of those. I think it's the last event going on right now. I think it's on until Tuesday. So if this episode goes on live on Monday, it'll still be another day or two for it. If you participate in the events that they're going on right now, you can receive 20 Apex packs.
Okay.
So yeah, the event's pretty easy. There's a game mode that you have to play that I did not like. I did not
No.
like it. I hated it. Um, Traditionally, the game is a first-person battle royale featuring 60 players,
Hmm.
and you drop in and you grab your weapon. I don't need to explain battle. You all know. This game mode is I don't know how to describe it. It wants to be Fortnite so bad, but it's not. Um, I forget the name of the game mode. It's like EPG or something. You drop in, and it's third person. Like when you normally drop in the game, you drop in third person to see where you land, but then you go to you switch to first person mode and then you start going. This is exclusively third person. I'm not used to third person in this game, nor do I understand really why it is third person, other than it's just trying to be Fortnite. Um, and then you're given a sword and a rocket launcher, and I know the EPG is in the game like itself, like because that's the name of the gun. Um, and I've gotten to use it maybe once or twice. I'm not good with it. It's incredibly slow. Like the bullet that it shoots is incredibly slow. It's very like shooting it takes a lot of time, and then reloading it is basically like you get you get the one clip, the 4 shots out of it. You are not going to be able to reload it.
Hmm.
And then, as my friend had explained to me, when you're fighting somebody with the sword, it's basically whoever gets their sword hit off first. So if you get hit by the sword first, you'll just get annihilated. If you're able to get them, you'll just take them out easily. So I think this game mode needs a lot of work. I don't like it. I don't like basically every part of it. I don't like that it's third person. I don't like the guns that you're given, or I don't like the weapons that you're given. You don't run around looking for any items. You just like you do drop in like traditional battle royale. It's granted to a smaller area. So it's kind of like they like souped up the battle royale idea in a way that I don't like. It's not good.
Okay.
They shaved it off in like the wrong parts to try to make something new, and I don't feel like it works.
Hmm. Presumably, it's a limited time mode.
I think it is. I'm not really sure. And the fact of that, in order to complete the event, you only needed to participate in 5 games. You didn't need to complete 5 games. So there were frequent matches where I
Oh,
would go in and it's 3 people. There's 4 teams and there's 3 people on each team. And a lot of times it was just me and my friend because the third person would leave because they're just doing it to get the event reward.
right. Yeah, that's never really a good thing for a team-based game.
Yeah, so even the people like even other people are just like, screw this, I'm not playing this. I just want to get my 20 pack. But other than that, like the 20 packs right now are incredibly easy to get because again, you don't have to win. You don't even have to complete the game. Those 5 games for that game mode, you could just enter, quit, enter, quit, enter, enter. That's shitty if you do that, but you can effectively just do that.
Hey, if you introduce a way for players to get a reward effectively, they're going to take that approach.
As they should. As they should. So yeah. Um but it's nice that they're giving away packs like that because it's at least a $20 value, or I forget exactly how much Apex packs go for. I think they're above.
What do
But
they
they
put in the packs?
3 items and you're guaranteed 1 blue item, which is rare at least.
Okay. Are they cosmetics?
They're cosmetics.
Okay.
There's different degrees. There's rare, epic, and legendary cosmetics. Legendary cosmetics have like a 1% drop. I got 1 out of the 20 packs that I got.
Okay.
And then my final game that we played this week that you were there for as well was Among Us.
Oh yeah. We did play Among Us.
Yes, we did play Among Us together. So I am the event manager for the Sentinels of the Store, the Steam advocacy group that you and I are both a part of. And every couple of weeks I host events. Last time we hosted a Quiplash game, and this time it was Among Us. It was a lot of fun. Obviously everybody knows Among Us. They've made a bunch of changes to the game. Like
Yes.
we only played the first level, but I know they've added like 2 or 3 more levels since since the game was really popular.
Oh yes. A lot of cosmetics too.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the people that we were playing with was saying that actually like my camera was already like playing in the game. They didn't need to like put Discord over there. Like it already had like webcam support added to it.
Oh yeah, they probably did put Discord integration in.
Yeah, which is great. Like I think that's a great idea because then like everybody could actually see each other's reactions while they're playing.
Right. And not on a 480p screen like not on the 480p camera like the Switch 2.
Yeah. Oh god, I don't even know how they're putting a 480p camera in that thing. Put 720p in it. Like I don't know how. I don't know what Nintendo's doing. Did they just have a bunch of these cameras laying around, or did they have to make a bunch of 480p cameras?
They probably had a bunch of overstock cameras that they got on sale from a warehouse.
Yeah. Because I can't, for the life of me, put together why they're doing that. But yeah, we played 2 hours of Among Us. It was a lot of fun. It didn't end on a great note because I'm pretty sure that there were some cheaters in the final game.
Yeah.
Because toward the end of the game, they were just like picking out who the imposters were, and they weren't explaining why.
Yep.
And I know that there's ways to like view the whole map in the game. If you're cheating at Among Us, you are sad.
Cheating at Among Us is like cheating cheating at a child t-ball game. It's like cheating at a charity sports event.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're not winning, bud.
The I don't understand the people who play pubs Among Us, because there are just so many people who will join games and then disconnect the moment that the game starts.
Yeah. I don't get it. And literally, like, we were hearing people like the game starting up, and I'd hear 2 or 3 people leave.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
How are you playing the game in a situation that you don't have the you're in the lobby for 30 seconds and then the game starts and you immediately have to disconnect for something?
Yeah, like what are you doing? What situation are you in? I don't get it. But like, that's my I guess my only complaint about Among Us is that like you can enter and leave as the countdown for the game is starting.
Right.
So frequently, like people will leave and then the game counter stops, and then people will join and the counter stops. It's like I just want to start the game. But yeah, Among Us, tons of fun. I don't know what we're doing for the next Sentinels event. I still have yet to really coordinate and pick that out. But yeah, it's so much fun. Come join us at the Sentinels of the Store, and yeah, come play some games with us.
The only thing I'm disappointed in is during that entire night, I did not get imposter once.
That does, yeah. And I know you were getting killed a lot.
I also was on a string of being the first person to get killed.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I know I killed
This is
you.
like, I'll just bring a book next time. Well, I mean, it'll give me something to do.
But yeah, that was about it for me for the week. Like I said, I've been dealing with some real life stuff, schedule changes.
Right.
Um,
Gotta love that real life stuff.
oh,
Video
yeah,
games would be so much more fun if it wasn't for real life shit.
I agree. Why do we do it?
I don't know. Something about like needing money,
Oh yeah, crap.
which is the great contradiction of life. Like, how come I spend 16 hours a day working and sleeping, and yet I'm constantly tired and have no money?
Right?
Just doesn't make any sense. Now, I want to talk about the video games that I've played, because I have several of them. One of them, the first one I want to go into, is a guilty pleasure of mine. It is called Cat and Seek Tokyo. It is a free game on Steam. They have some DLC coming out for it. But Cat and Seek is a part of a long string of free-to-play hidden object finding games. And the hidden objects are cats. And it's basically the product of this dude who he makes a big art piece, fills it with hidden cats, and that's the game. You find 100 cats hidden in the art piece. and he's gotten better over time. I say he, I don't know who the developer is. The developer has gotten better over time and started putting in like animations and stuff, but it is a guilty pleasure of mine in the sense that whenever one of these comes out, I immediately download it and load it up, and I pretty much finish it within about 4 or 5 minutes. Because it's not difficult. It's one of those games where I can find the cats faster than the achievements can load on Steam to tell me that because a lot of the games have one achievement per cat that you find. And so like I play the free versions every time they come out, and the developer has had a bunch of them that are like 55 cents, $1. I never buy them because I don't enjoy the games enough to pay money for them. But if one of them comes out for free, I will immediately download it and roll through it in about 5 minutes.
It looks charming.
It is a charming game, and every time it is, I said that Power Wash Simulator is Pavlov's dog simulator, but Cat and Seek, this dev's games are Pavlov's dog, because every time you find a cat, you get a meow and like a ping. So like you're just going through and just like hitting the cats and getting the immediate feedback, and also getting the ping from the Steam achievement. And so yeah.
I see that there's a coloring mode in this. Like you can actually
There-
color in.
There is. They've started adding that into the recent games, where once you finish it, you can just color on the board.
I love it.
It is a charming game. They are like the guy has, it's like cats in Tokyo, cats in Britain, cats in America, like cats in Egypt. There's a ton of them. I don't really want to know how many achievements that I have because of those games, because this one only has, I think, like 16 achievements, but the rest of them all have 100 achievements. Like I said, it's a guilty pleasure. It's something that I just, it's like if you've ever been it's like when you would go to the grocery store and you would see Mad Magazine or like the National Enquirer at the checkout counter, and you wouldn't buy the National Enquirer, but you would read it and just kind of look at all the crazy stuff in the 4 or 5 minutes when you're waiting for your parents to cash out. That's what the cat games are to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have that, and I have a multitude of color by number video games on Steam that I play, that I have on that side spent a lot of money on. I've probably spent over $100 on color by number DLC that I play while I am watching movies sometimes. Just for that extra stimulation of my brain. It's not an ADD, it's not an attention thing. It's a like something for my hands to do while I'm watching a movie.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, I played that game. I have 2 games on my list this week that are going to brand me a horrible corporate shill. The first one is RuneScape Dragonwilds.
Ooh. Okay.
And RuneScape Dragonwilds, I got the key from Jagex for this game. It is an early access survival crafting game set in the RuneScape universe. And as of yet, I have put in about 5 hours over the last week. And I've gotten pretty, I would say kind of far in the early access area. There's a lot of resource collection, building a house, building crafting stations, it is very much steeped in RuneScape juice without being something that you would need to know about RuneScape for. So you really don't need to know anything about what's going on in the RuneScape storyline to understand what's going on in the game or to understand the game mechanics, because it is very basic stuff. It's just the names of the things are something that if you play RuneScape, you would know kind of what it is. For example, there is a spell in the game called the Orb of Oculus. And what that does is it's a construction mode that pulls the camera away from your player character so you can free move the camera and build without having to kind of position your character at the right point. So like you can add a roof on your building without having to, move your character around to get within distance to manually place it. And the Orb of Oculus in RuneScape is an item that you can use that moves the camera away from your character within a boundary limit, and it was kind of just for taking screenshots.
Yeah, okay.
So the mechanic is self-explanatory. It's just, if you know RuneScape stuff, you know where a lot of the names for these things come from. Now,
It's been a long time since I played RuneScape.
I bet.
I played it before I played WoW, so we're talking, and I mean, I haven't played it since then, so like, we're talking, I played it in 2005. We're not a long time.
I have over 6,000 hours in RuneScape.
Holy shit.
I have been subscribed to RuneScape for so long that my subscription is still at the $5 a month grandfathered in price because I have never let it lapse for more than 30 days. Since 2004. And I am still at the $5.
Wow.
I think it's like $13 a month now.
Wow.
But yeah, it's I got the key, like I said, I got the key from RuneScape, from Jagex PR people, and I am enjoying it. There's a lot of unfinished content in the game, but I like the way that they're doing the early access, in that what they're putting in the game is solidly built. It's just very clearly the game is, being built on itself. Like there's no fishing skill, there's some rudimentary potion making, but there's no herb lore skill. There's rudimentary magic and range, but those skills haven't been fully implemented. There's, a lot of I think there's 8 skills from RuneScape that are in Dragonwilds. And they function a little bit similarly to the skills in RuneScape, where you just grind the shit out of them. But what they also do is in RuneScape, where you had a lot of sort of where magic was sort of centered around increasingly more powerful attacks, a lot of the magic in RuneScape Dragonwilds is more utility for your other skills. So for instance, one of the earliest spells that you get is it's kind of a spirit axe. And it summons an axe, and you line up trees, and then you throw the axe, and it chops all of them down instantly. And like there's one, because getting bones in the game is a ridiculously long task. You get a spell early on in the game that converts a tree into bones. And it gives you like 12 bones, whereas most of the animals in the game only give you 2 every time you kill them. And also getting runes for the spells is a lot easier because you only have one rune altar that you can build wherever you want, that you can make all of the runes from.
That's good because I remember when I was playing RuneScape, like I liked Magic a lot, but like, oh my god, you'd have to carry so many runes on you.
As an MMO, RuneScape is highly built around how can we take up more of your time to do tasks?
Yeah.
Whereas Dragonwilds seems to be how can we make things more efficient for you?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of your spells in Dragonwilds are based around making things more efficient. But I am having a lot of fun with it.
So it looks, the playstyle looks similar, akin to like Palworld, Valheim.
Hellworld? I would say more Valheim.
Palworld, those the same game.
Oh, I guess.
You know,
Um,
Mark, Conan, they're like, they're all like
I mean,
the
I
same.
wonder if I don't know if they're going to put in like necromancy or something like that, because RuneScape has that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is like the building and resource stuff for
You're given a big
Hellworld and
open world. Well,
Valheim.
you make your character. You're given a big open world, and you can explore it how you see or how you
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
There are the areas are level gated.
Okay.
So they are like not specifically being blocked from entering higher level areas, but if you do, you're going to encounter higher level enemies
Yeah.
that are eventually just going to, kick the shit out of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
It looks really good. I haven't played RuneScape in forever, and like, I kind of want to play this. This looks
yeah,
fun.
I got 2 people from my work to buy Dragonwilds. And neither of them have played RuneScape, but they find this game to be very charming. And that's how you know something's good. When it appeals to people who have no clue about the source material. It's kind of like when I went to see Spam-A-Lot with my mom, and she really liked it, even though she had never seen Monty Python in her life.
Oh yeah. I think I might pick this up and play it with you then.
It is fun. It is online.
Mm-hmm.
It does have online co-op. Now, my next game, I have been putting time back into the Defiance MMO
I've seen you
because
play
Defiance is back, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I played between Defiance 2050 on PC and console. I put about 800 hours into Defiance during its lifespan.
Oh wow.
And I am ready to go back. I've been playing through. I've been skipping all of the story stuff, skipping all the cutscenes, just ramming through the quests as they become available. And I love Defiance. It is just mindless shooting, and I am all in on it.
It's all I've seen you play lately. I don't even know if you've played Fortnite lately because of all I've
I
seen.
haven't played Fortnite lately. I haven't played
yeah.
Fortnite in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
waiting because the season ends this week. The season ends on Thursday, and they have a Star Wars season starting Saturday or they have a Star Wars season starting on Friday. So I haven't been playing Fortnite, but I have been playing a lot of Defiance because you have so many things to grind in that game. There's reputations and weapon levels, vehicle levels, weapon mastery per weapon. You have like all of this crap to grind, and I have 800 hours to catch back up on in player progression. They didn't keep anyone's data. They said that Gamigo lost the player data after the server shut down the first time around.
Oh wow.
So everyone is starting from scratch. But on the plus side, the game is finally at a point where the servers aren't crashing constantly. Because the reaction to Defiance was so big that they had 8 times the number of people playing the live servers versus those who joined in for the stress test. So the stress test was not a good indicator of how much they needed to scale the servers up.
Wow.
And I love Defiance because the hit registration on Defiance is client side, which means that when the game is lagging, you'll kill someone, and about 5 seconds later, the game will recognize that they're dead. Because your client knows that they're dead, but the server hasn't caught up yet.
Yay. That seems like that can be manipulated. I'm not sure if that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that really PvP used to be hacked to shit. But Defiance is also not really a PvP centered game. It's mostly co-op stuff.
Well, fair. It's also I forget that Overwatch is client side hit register, so it can work.
But I got into a big invasion. I love Defiance. It's one of those games where the architecture that it's built on is jank as shit, but they do what they can to keep it running smoothly. Where you get into these big invasions where there's literally so many people standing around that the game cannot render all of them on the screen at the same time. So you'll have people within like a 30-foot radius, and then you'll just kind of see people pop in and out after that distance, just because there's so many people participating in the event. And I love the fact that there's, for a game that shut down 4 years ago because it wasn't doing well, the fact that there's so many people playing now that the game can't render all of them in the tighter spaces. I love Defiance. Defiance was my Fortnite before Fortnite was my Fortnite. I played so much of that game. And I would like do certain activities in the game, and then I would turn off Defiance, and I would go to Defiance on the console, and I would play it again. I would play that stuff again, just because they were on separate characters.
Wow. Is it free?
Yes, it is free to play. It's not on Steam. It requires a Fox game account. Fox, like the Phoenix, FAWKES. But it is free to play. It is now, I can now wholeheartedly recommend it because the game doesn't run like shit. The only thing I will say is if you are in Europe, or actually if you're outside of North America, maybe hold off. Because there's only one server and it's in North America.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they're going to launch a European server. The company that's running this is very small. But they have said that the player base has far exceeded what they were expecting. So you never know.
I hear the excitement in your voice.
Oh, I love this game. Like I said, I played the shit out of this when it was... I watched all 3 seasons of Defiance when it was on Sci-Fi. And I don't normally watch Sci-Fi original shows. Now, I have another game that is also in the realm of corporate chill, and that is Wartorn. This one, I wasn't as much of a fan of. Wartorn, I got a preview key from the developer. And this one I played it over the course of a week. I wrote a piece about it. I got a pre-embargo code to play the game and kind of talk about it a bit. It is a real-time strategy roguelike, where you're in a caravan, you have 2 hero characters, and you are kind of rolling around down a set path, and then every now and then an event pops up that is either something to do with resources or it's a battle. And then you have your battle, and then you continue along the way. And it continues until effectively everyone gets wiped out, and then it's game over, you're back to the start. You have certain currencies that hold over that can give permanent upgrades to your characters. But I didn't really like it. I found that the game is exceedingly difficult to the point where it's not fun, because you have the characters, and every time, so your 2 hero characters will respawn at the end of a round. If you have like 5 or 6 wizards and one of them is killed, you only have the living ones left for the next combat encounter. So every session of the game is just fighting with an ever dwindling number of resources. As the enemies get more powerful, each unit has its own leveling system, but leveling is incredibly slow. Over the time that I was playing it, I never had a unit actually live long enough to level up. Because by the time if you start out with 6 units in a squad, by the time you hit 3 units left, they're not doing anything effective anyway.
Yeah.
And also, death comes very quick in Wartorn. And you get new units at a snail's pace. You might go 5, 6, 7 combat encounters without getting another new unit, as your limited forces are just dwindling down every match. And the game is forcing you to go up against boss monsters and shit like that. So it's hard in a way that's not fun. The art style is incredibly off-putting just because it's very difficult to see what's going on when the game is in motion during combat encounters.
Yeah, it's got this like impressionist art style, and I mean, still frames look gorgeous, but when they start moving, I agree with you, it does get a little bit blurry. And like you can see, like, again, still frames look great. And when things don't seem to be moving very much, it seems all right. But once they start, like, stuff starts happening, it just looks like blobs of color.
Yeah. And it makes things more difficult because part of the game is this whole idea of dynamic combat. So like, let's say you have a group of trolls.
Yeah.
And 2 of the units that the game starts you out with in the first couple of encounters are you get water wizard and you get thunder wizard or lightning wizards. And you can use the water wizards to drench your enemies, and then use the lightning wizards to strike them with lightning and do extra damage.
Gotcha.
Or like there's also defensive abilities with that. There's defensive uses where some of the enemies can cast spells that coat your characters in tar. And if your characters are lit on fire when covered in tar, the fire does extra damage. You can use your water wizards to coat your characters in water and wash the tar off them.
Gotcha.
But also, again, looking at the art style, it's very difficult to tell, it's very difficult to see what's going on a lot of the time.
Is there micro involved in this? Because you said it's an RTS.
It is an RTS. It's a very small focus RTS.
Okay.
So like you have your 2 hero characters, you select the squads, or you can select everyone. So like you have your after a few levels, you'll have the 2 main characters, your fire or your water wizard, your lightning wizard, and then bombardiers. And you can command them on the battlefield. There's a whole
Okay.
they talk about like flanking and stuff, but honestly the maps are way too small to actually be able to flank anyone.
Gotcha.
And also the health pools for your characters are terrible. They're not much better than the enemies, so when you have melee units that are going up against, like if you have a melee unit go up against another melee squad in melee combat, and also there's friendly fire, so your characters, like your wizards and your archers, are occasionally doing damage to your own units.
Oh.
And again, they're not replaceable. Like if you have a squad of, 10 melee units and 6 of them die in a fight, you're going forward with 4 of them.
Yeah.
Which at that point is why even bother?
And then there's no healing either.
And there's no healing.
So like, oh my god, like what?
It's a game that I think will die unless they figure out how to balance the difficulty. It's just not fun.
Okay.
There's difficult and then there's punishing. And you can, there's plenty of games that are punishing, but they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like, it's a game that expects you to play with the units, but doesn't, it makes the units so fragile that you never keep them long enough to do anything with them. So like I got a little bit further in my last playthrough and I lost my water wizards because I went up against a bunch of grenadiers and they just blew themselves up and just wiped out my whole squad. I never got another water wizard unit, like the whole rest of the session.
Okay.
Until I reset. It's like you get it once and then it's gone. Your units are incredibly fragile and the game is expecting you to combo. So like I never got another water unit, so I never got to do the lightning combo again.
Yeah, okay.
And also I never got another water unit, so I was completely screwed whenever I went up against anything fire-based. Because I couldn't put my units, I couldn't put my units, I couldn't put out the fire on my units.
Yeah.
So it's just really, and I know that part of the reason is because it is a roguelite game, so it's more difficult at the front end until you spend a bunch of currency to boost your base stats, and then it just gets easier over time. But like, also you're running through the same missions just over and over and over again because it's story based.
Oh. Yeah.
So like you start from the beginning of the story every time you die. So like by the end of it, I was hammering through the cutscene dialogue because it's like, okay, I've seen this a dozen times.
Yeah.
I've seen this a dozen times. I had a bad run. I got barely any currency. I couldn't upgrade anything. And now the game is just, it's wasting my time in addition to just making everything abnormally punishing. I want to say with Wartorn, something that I say with a lot of developers, which is like, people play video games to have fun. And it feels like at some point the developers forgot, like, the developers forgot that difficulty is meant to be an avenue to overcome, not to just, like, kill the player's enthusiasm through 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get to the, I don't know, like, the game threw me through 3 caravan attack missions in a row. And in the first one, I had like half my troops wiped out. In the second one, I had a lot more of them wiped out because there were more enemies and I had less troops. And then by the third one, I had one wizard and my two main characters who could do nothing.
Yeah.
And at that point, the game's not fun because there's nothing, because it's an RTS, like all you can do is direct your units where to go. It's not like an action RPG where I could be by myself and, by dodging and movement, I could defeat a bunch of enemies. You're just screwed.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. Like, the deck was always stacked against you. There's no... Having the player go through 3 combat encounters in a row with permadeath on RTS units, absolutely no way of getting back up. Nothing to replenish your units. It's punishing at a point that's not fun. It's not good game design.
How is like the meta mechanics, like the because it's a roguelike, you unlock stuff like you said to like build. How is that system?
It's all base stats. So it's like base health, like your unit's health, your unit's damage multiplier, the special attack damage, the cooldowns. So there's nothing that I saw that like gets you more units or has units replenish. If you have the ability to recruit people outside of the random events in the game, it would be a little bit more bearable. But the fact that they have permadeath for your units is just, it's not fun. And it's ridiculous because you're starting out with squads that have 6 people in them. And then if 2 or 3 of them die in a single match, which they probably will, you have 3 units left. And then the next match you go into, they're completely useless.
Yeah, because like if you have we've played, this reminds me a lot of Warside, the game I played last week. Like if you have 2 units go up against each other, it might work out to your advantage. But if your unit is at half health, you're doing a quarter of the damage you normally would have done.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
It would be like if every level in Warside was the non-building levels,
Yeah.
but also your units carried over to the next mission.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. And it's like,
and eventually, it's just not fun.
Yeah, because if your enemies keep getting like more units and refreshed, and you have to keep fighting like full health and more of them, and your characters are like, some of them have died and you're only at half health, it's only a matter of time then. There is no winning.
Yeah, that's not fun. It's not fair. I really don't see, with the trajectory that they're going, I don't see this game doing well when it launches. And I don't see people enjoying it. The only people I can see enjoying this are the almost ironic, like, sadomasochists.
Yeah. Those actual gluttons for punishment.
Yeah.
They're
now,
I play this game because it's hard, only because it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play real games. Why don't you all go back to, why don't you go back to Hello Kitty Online? Look, I'll go back. I'm going to play more coloring book video games.
Right?
And I play, like, I'm not against, I've been playing the first Berserker Kazan. I've been playing Lies of P. I like the Souls-like games. So I'm not against difficulty, but it's the fact that the game gives you nothing. Like, it starts you out with very little to work with, and then gives you progressively less. And there's nothing you can do about it. And there's really not much you can even do with what they've given you. Because it's an RTS, so your characters are instinctively going to move on their own. There's only so many ways you can position them that would, prolong your survivability. But I have one more game to talk about.
Okay.
And it's from the title of this episode. It's
Ooh.
the Boba Teashop. Now, I talked about the demo for this. I have a 1-minute review on the YouTube channel. I talked about the demo for this. I did enjoy the demo. Demo was a short 10-minute experience. The full game is about 45 minutes. I did really enjoy it. It's not common that I play a horror game that afterwards I'm like I'm gonna turn the light on in the kitchen before I go in there, because I finished it at about 1:30 in the morning, figuring that it was probably less than an hour long. And the Boba Teashop, it's not about a haunted tea shop. It is a psychological game where your character opens up the Boba Teashop of her dream, only to find that the pains of customer service don't go away just because you're working in your dream job. And it starts off, so like there's demonic presences, but they are not really demons. It's all a metaphor. So like you start out, you're serving customers, you got, people of varying hospitality. And the further that you get into the week, the more things start wearing on you. And as someone who worked in customer service, I had a deep connection with the main character, because you get customers who start coming in, and this is when the paranormal-ish stuff starts happening, because you have customers who start coming in like this. This lady comes in and she says, like, get me a coffee, because you get tea, coffee, and a couple variations of drinks as the week goes on. And she's like, get me a coffee with milk. I'm having a really stressful day. You wouldn't know about that because you don't have a real job. And like you get this, on the other side, you get this guy who comes in and he says, in the first day, he's like, hey, can you get me a milk, boba milk tea for my son, and just a milk tea for me? I don't trust those boba things. And then a couple of days later, he comes back. He's like, get me 2 boba milk teas. My son turned me on to the boba stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you get more and more people where they're like just complete assholes.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't matter. What they did smart is that there's no in-game timer. So it adds to the frustration, because it's like you get like this, there's this really fat lady that comes in. And every time she comes in, she tells you about how she's taking a break from running laps. And that she's in the middle of her exercise routine, and you need to hurry the hell up because she's cooling down fast. And so no matter how quickly you get her drink, when you serve it to her, she's never happy. Like you serve her drink and she's like, I could have run to the cafe across the street, gotten a drink, and come back by the time you finish this. So the demons are not, it's not a game about a possessed tea shop. It's a game about horrible burnout working in customer service.
Yeah. And I've been there. Oh my God.
Which I like. And I like the fact that the developer didn't go down the very simple trope, because I've noticed in a lot of these horror games, what they tend to do, because you're playing as a female worker, is they always have the trope of the creepy stalker guy. And the creepy stalker, like there is a creepy guy who shows up in this, and he was in the demo, where he comes in and he's like, oh, I didn't know. I knew that a Boba Teashop had opened up, but I didn't know that they were hiring pretty women. And he asks you for your phone number.
Oh, okay.
And you have the option, you have two options, and the option is give him a fake number or say no. And I don't know what happens if you give him the fake number, but I said no, and expecting that he would get, weird. And he just goes, couldn't hurt to try.
Uh,
And he never comes back. Like he comes back, I think, a couple of times to buy drinks, but he doesn't press anything after that. So they don't have the creepy male customer thing. But the game is fun. 45 minutes. You get 3 different drink types. They have strawberries and lemons. And there's like maybe a dozen different drinks you can make. You get matcha. So like one thing that you can do that the game actually encourages is one of the achievements is to make over $500. And the way that you do that is every so often a character will come in and they'll say, give me like whatever your suggestion is. And basically the answer to that is just pile everything into a cup, because then you can charge them the most. So like I made this lady a matcha boba chocolate milk tea drink with strawberries in it.
that doesn't sound bad.
There's a couple of spoopy moments in the game. It's very light on jump scares. There's maybe 2 of them. But it's definitely a game. It's one of those games where there's shit in your peripheral vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like you take this lady's order, you turn around and you start making her drink, and then you turn around again and the lady has been replaced with like this little demon girl who's standing behind the counter and is like just tall enough that her head just kind of goes over the countertop. And then you look away, like you have to look, the game tutorializes and tells you to look away for a bit. It's like look away and count to 10. So like you have to look away and then like just count in your head and then look back and the lady's back.
I would not play this.
There was one part a little bit later on where while you're taking a customer's order, a guy walks in and he walks all the way back to the bathroom, closes the door behind him. And then you finish cashing the lady out. Like you have a couple of customers that come in, and then it's like, okay, it's closing time. Go into the bathroom, nobody there.
See,
But
this
it is a very fun. It is a good game. It's a very atmospheric game. I really did enjoy the horror aspects of it. But yeah, those are the games that I played this week.
yeah.
Now, this is normally the part of the show where we would talk about games that are coming out that look interesting. The unfortunate side is that this is a very light week for that. And I know that I don't have anything to mention, but I know that you brought up a couple of them. So what are you looking forward to this week?
I only found 2 that looked anything like they were like had any sort of effort put into them. First one is called Badlands Crew. this is a very like I like building games. So like usually if it's just got building in it and it doesn't look terrible, I'll try it out. So it's basically Mad Max. It's Mad Max, but it's like it's a video game. You have a um like a war truck, we'll call it. I don't know what to call them really, but it's like you're driving down like desert wastelands, and other people with their war trucks are coming up to try to rob you and take your stuff, probably take your gasoline, whatever.
Hmm.
It looks good. It looks, again, if you like Mad Max, if you like that sort of idea, also if you liked, oh geez, I'm gonna draw a blank on that game. There's another game that I've played that's a lot like it, or at least I think it's a lot like it. Um, Drawing a blank on the name now. Oh God, but yeah, it looks really good. It's got that like bomber crew style of art. Everything's kind of chibi, so it's a very like used art style, but it looks good. So I might
Okay.
I might see if there is no demo for it. It's coming out tomorrow on Monday.
Oh,
Um, yeah. So I know Mad Max is like it's like a classic theme. Like you can there's character customization. You build your truck the way that you want it to. You put weapons on it. Looks like fun.
I hope you can have a guy with a flaming guitar on the front of your truck.
I hope so.
Now, your
Terra
other
Attack.
game, yeah.
Terra Attack was the name of the game I was thinking of.
Okay.
Terra Attack's
Your
a
other
game where
game
you
I do have on my wish list.
wait, oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a game called Occupy. Um, it's a very simple game. It looks like it's quite simple, but it's a classic because it's Risk, or it's you're given like territories and you have to try to take over the territory, and the territory itself like builds up units and you can send them out. But it's real-time strategy, and it's 2D. So unlike Risk, which is turn-based, you're actually like actively sending things to a place to try to like fight out that area.
Yeah. I've played a variation of this game style a few times. It's effectively you're trying to keep territories while also strategically attacking other territories. And it is definitely one of those games that it's a snowballing game
Hmm.
where the more territories you hold, the more units you have, and therefore the easier it is for you to take more territory from the enemy. It's definitely a blitz game
Hmm.
where if you know the optimal way um, to rally your soldier numbers, or what I usually do is I stay behind and I wait for the other players to start attacking each other, and then I go in and uh, clean up the aftermath.
It's always best to be the third party.
Yes. Um, I'm not sure, it's how much playability it's going to have, but I have it on my following list.
Yeah, I think if you liked Creeper World, you'll like this.
I mean, it looks good. If it's like the developer that made this, most of their games are under. Actually, all of their games are under $5, so I imagine this one's going to be $3 or $4. In which case, it's $3.
It's worth it at that point. As long as you get
Yeah,
20 levels out of it, it'll be fine for that price.
I think it looks fine, and I think it's indicative of what this week is like. That is one of the games that we're highlighting.
Yeah, I mean it. I'm not saying it looks bad, but it looks real simple.
Yeah, in a world, in a week where anything else was coming out that looked interesting, this would not be on the list.
Yeah, but looks good. Looks all right.
It looks perfectly serviceable for a $3 for a $3 indie game. People on the PlayStation will be happy this week to know that they have the Days Gone Remastered Edition is coming out.
Ooh.
The Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5.
Oh,
Now that Microsoft is putting more and more of their games on other consoles. According to an analyst, the Indiana Jones has apparently is apparently outselling the Steam and Xbox version by like 30%.
really?
So that game is doing well on the PlayStation.
Very good.
But with that, I guess we'll get into the news. Yeah, that's about where I thought we'd be at. Now, the first news story of the day is a little tale in common sense. It's the TSA has seized a mobile phone charger because it looked like the Call of Duty monkey bomb. The monkey with the symbols with the dynamite attached to his back from Call of Duty Zombies.
Gotcha.
Someone tried to get onto a plane with the monkey bomb, which was I believe a clock, or a figure of some kind. And there's a lot of stupid things you can do in the world. Getting onto a plane with a toy that is meant to look like a bundle of dynamite is definitely high up on that.
Yeah. Why
Now,
would you
people
do
found out about it because the TSA has a habit of sharing some of the things that they confiscate on their Facebook page. Oh, it's a phone charger.
that? Oh, okay.
Now, I don't like the TSA. But I will say in this instance, they have a point. You
Yeah,
shouldn't be getting on a plane with a thing that looks like a fake bundle of dynamite.
I agree with you on this. Like, use your better judgment. I'm not sure why just bring a regular phone charger.
Yeah.
Be safe, everybody. I understand, this thing is obviously harmless. It's fine. Looks cool, if anything. But,
It
you're
does.
getting on a plane.
They pointed out replica weapons and explosives, no matter how cool or collectible, aren't allowed in your carry-on or checked baggage.
Yeah.
Consider the TSA workers. I mean, most of them have high school educations. They can't tell. Most of them have high school educations, and apparently they let through like 90% of what contraband stuff anyway. So like, they can't tell the difference.
Yeah, fair.
Now, my second news story is positivity. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Now, we talked about this last week. Amazing to think that last week it was just a rumor.
Uh-huh.
At the time that we were recording the podcast, we were asking, like, does the Oblivion remaster exist? I was like, well, we know it does, but nobody knows when it's coming out. The rumor said that it was going to shadow drop last week. It shadow dropped last week. But at the time when we recorded on Sunday, like, nobody knew that it was actually going to come out that week. And it's out. And the good news is, according to Bethesda, they have racked up 4 million players in less than 5 days.
This thing came out swinging.
Yes.
Like, it looks good. I watched a friend play it, and
Mhm.
it looks amazing. I don't really play these games,
Right.
but I enjoy watching people play them.
It looks great. It is a beautiful a cover over the game itself still being the Elder Scrolls.
Mhm.
One of the big changes outside of the graphics is that they went back and they re-recorded a bunch of the character lines because now they have more space for more voice acting. I do really like that they kept in some of the old stuff. Like, they never fixed the item duplication glitch. They did not replace one voice acting line. And it's one, you can look it up on YouTube. There's kind of an infamous voice acting line from Oblivion where the character delivers the line and then the actor out of character says, "I didn't like that. Can we take that again?" And then they record it a second time. And they accidentally left that blooper in the game the first time around, and they didn't remove it this time around. Like, they kept it in this time around for the remaster. And the funniest thing is the game auto lip syncs. So, like, the character is talking to you, and then they're like, "Yeah, I didn't like that. Can we take that again?" And then they give the line a second time. So they kept a blooper audio take in the game. And I love that. The Oblivion remaster doesn't officially have mod support, but that hasn't stopped over 100 mods from being made in the last week.
Of course.
For all sorts of things. And I mean, I know people have their own reasons. There is a big Microsoft boycott going on at the time over Microsoft's involvement in Israel, assisting their military.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 million people. It's on Game Pass. I've been playing it on my Xbox Series X. And I'm liking it. It feels, I mean, obviously the game looks new, it looks really good, but it is a trip back to 20 years ago. And I'm hoping that they do exactly the same thing with the Fallout 3 remaster that's been long rumored to be in I think that was one of the leaks that the Oblivion remaster was originally leaked in, with the Microsoft files that they're working on a similar remaster for Fallout.
I could see that because I know Fallout 3 has issues like running.
Especially on console it's fine, but PC on modern hardware, it does not run well.
Yeah.
Now, I have one more. Huh?
So if they fix that issue, it really would be great, because then more people could experience a really, really good Fallout, because that one was not made by Bethesda. That one was made by somebody else, right?
New Vegas was developed by Obsidian.
Oh, Obsidian. Okay.
Fallout 3 was Bethesda's first Fallout game.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry. I was getting those out of order.
Now, for my last news piece, I have Ubisoft has finally updated on plans for the offline mode for the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest. This is something that they first detailed about like 7 or 8 months ago. And they said was coming at some point in the future, very clearly in response to the lawsuit over the Crew going offline and being removed from everyone's library. They said that development is progressing smoothly, and it will allow people to play the game offline, and that the user tests are beginning April 30th, with a small group of people being able to test it, and it being slowly rolled out to more people as the testing goes on. And they said that it would be fully rolled out to all platforms before the end of 2025. So offline mode for the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest. So when Ubisoft eventually shut the game down, shut the servers down, will be coming soon.
I have things I want to say, but they're not very positive.
I go ahead and say them.
Um, I am tired of the constant bitching from these assholes who want the crew one back online.
Right. That's never going to happen. Outside of, well, it's never going to happen in an official Ubisoft capacity.
I don't care. I am fine with games shutting down.
Mhm.
If it shut down and we didn't have a crew 2, okay, fine, you can't play a game you really like to play. Fine, 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 fine. We have the crew 2. I assume it is just a better version of that kind of game.
Right. Also, there's a lot of people complaining online about the crew 1 not being online, considering that the crew had maybe a dozen people playing it at the time that it shut down.
Yeah.
So a lot of it feels like people who just really want to be angry about something rather than people who actually had a stake in the game back around the time when they shut it down.
And this is something more tangible that they can focus their anger on of, this is a very clear idea. We don't like games going offline.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're not understanding at all why games go offline.
Yes.
If you have a
Or
game, sorry.
Mhm.
If you have a game that's averaging 50 people or less per month, like your max players are like 50 or less per month, and this is made by Ubisoft, this is a triple
Yeah.
A game. This at one point had tens of thousands of people playing it. Shut it down. Make a new one. Put it out there so that way more people can put out a new one so that way a new player base, a new fresh player base can come in and more people can enjoy the game together. So you're not just playing with the same 50 fucking people.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm getting heated over this. It's just this has been such an issue. And when I ask people who want games like this to be preserved, they're usually absolutists. They're usually people who all games must be preserved. Every game must have some type of preservation. And I am totally fine with the idea of preserving the files themselves. I don't know how you would access these files once the game is shut down, because once the game is shut down, the distributor is no longer selling them. So those files still belong to the person who created them. So cool, those files are inaccessible by everyone. I'm cool with leaving those files somewhere. All right. I am not against the preservation of the data itself. What I personally find interesting is preserving the intention, the feel, the what the game represents. And
Yeah.
this can't always be done. My favorite game lately, Sea of Thieves. It'll shut down. It'll shut down at some point, and I will lose everything that I had.
Mhm.
I'm fine with this. I'm totally fine with this because hopefully Sea of Thieves 2 will come out. Maybe it will just have run its course by then. Maybe they make it free to play. Maybe I don't know. I don't know, but I am totally fine with having access to this and then it running its course and then it finalizing and then you know what? Wasn't that a fun time? Wasn't that a fun time that we had? We all had
Yeah.
so much fucking fun. Instead of bitching about that it's over. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
And live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. I don't get it. I'm sorry to go on about this. I don't get it. I really don't get it about why people are so butthurt about the Crew 1 shutting down. These same people who are so butthurt about the Crew 1 shutting down have zero interest in playing Crew 2.
Yep. Even after Ubisoft put the Crew 2 down to $2.
Yeah. They're like, no, we want the crew one back. And then you know what they'll do? They'll put it back online, and then they'll go, yes, we won. Now I'm going to go play the fucking Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
And
They're
ignore
not,
everyone.
they were playing it before. They're not going to play it now.
Yeah. So, like, really, I'm sorry to get so negative. I'm sorry to kind of do a little rant. You know, I like ranting, but, like, I hate this movement. I hate these absolutists, because when I ask people, how do you preserve a game like World of Warcraft? And then they're like, oh, well, you really can't. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, so you can't preserve every game. I'm like, so there are games that you can't preserve. And games like, you know, my favorite game, Kerbal Space Program, preserve that game. Preserve that game so that way everyone can enjoy it. It's a single player offline game. There's no reason why that game can't be preserved when, you know, once it's run its course and, you know, everybody enjoy it. Factorio is another one where, like, you know, that game's timeless. Everybody could play that game for forever and be fine. Minecraft,
Yeah.
another wonderful game worth preserving. Minecraft, if anything, should be at the top of the list for games that should be preserved forever. But the crew, Sea of Thieves, you can't enjoy these games by yourself. You can play them, you can have an experience with them, but you won't get what the intentional experience is, which is player interaction. And unless you're actually going to, like, you know, say 100 years from now, because I'm thinking, like, you know, 100 years from now, if somebody wanted to play Sea of Thieves again, they would have to get the code, establish it for new current hardware. Things will have changed by that point. They'll have to redevelop servers. They'll have to advertise that you can connect to the server, and then actually have people who want to play a 100-year-old game.
Yep.
This is a lot of steps. To what? To what goal?
Yeah. It's a lot of it is definitely just out of people being upset that they're being told that they can't play something. It's like the rallying every time an MMO shuts down, where people get upset that it's closing down, and then you look at the player counts, and 99% of you weren't playing the game in the first place.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, all 68 active players. I'm so sorry for you guys.
Yeah, they have 68 active players, but 4,000, 68 active players, but 20,000 people sign a petition to keep the servers online.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
Well, on that note, so yeah, that's what we got. I said it would be about an hour and a half, and it was about an hour and a half.
We are good content creators.
I can piecemeal how long things are going to. I can piecemeal the timeline in my brain before the show even starts. But on that note, we will end this for the week. And I will say once again, this is Online for Maintenance, episode number 11, Boba Teas Nuts. I'm Connor.
I'm Hannah.
And as always, you can check us out and support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/MMO Fallout. I try to get the episodes out on Mondays usually for patrons, and then Wednesdays usually for the public. It depends on how far behind I am on procrastinating with other things that I occasionally forget to upload it to the usual sources. This week should be good. I front-loaded a lot of my other work on Saturday and Sunday, so I think I should be getting everything out in a pretty good timeline this week. And on that note, let's just go back to Polaris with Hey Sandy. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Mwah.
That's your dog bite. Hey Cindy. Hey Cindy. That's your dog bite. Hey Cindy.
Baba Booey.